Do your research before you go to China. People DM me talking about, can I smoke weed in China? Go ahead, go find out. Go find out. You won't come back. You won't make another TikTok video. You won't be on TikTok again until 2075. You can tell somebody that this is the perfect opportunity for you, and they still gonna find something negative to say. Oh yeah, they can give you a salary, but you still can't smoke weed.
Why is it so difficult for some white people to admit China's historical huge achievement? China pulled up over 800 million population out of poverty in last 40 years. No other country have ever done that since our history in humanity. And you're talking about, let's don't pretend there's no poverty in China. Yes, there is no poverty in China. We have poor people, we don't have poverty. Everyone can afford to have a home to live in and have food to eat. There's no poverty. Poverty is the people who are homeless in the United States. Those people called poverty. But in China, we have poor people, yes, but no poverty. Okay, we don't need to pretend. You call yourself socialist, but that name tag is too small, cannot cover your white supremacist name tag. China is not true socialism. Yes, we also don't call it true socialism. What the fuck is true socialism? Who cares what is socialism? We call ourselves as socialism with China's characteristic. Do you have a problem with that? We don't care about what your socialism idea in your mind. We don't need to fit into your box what socialism is supposed to be. Is that understandable, you white supremacist socialist?
About 1 billion people have been lifted out of poverty since 1981. And there's a narrative that groups like the World Economic Forum and USAID like to push that it was neoliberalism and global capitalism that has done this. When the reality of the situation is that 800 million of those people that have been pulled out of poverty are Chinese. It was the Chinese government and socialism that pulled those people out of poverty. Neoliberal capitalism is a way to entrap people in debt and to increase poverty, not a way to pull people out of poverty. Currently enough food being produced on Earth to feed 10 billion people. There are about 7 billion people on Earth, and about half of them go hungry on a day-to-day basis. That is insane. And if we're going to move past the current state of affairs, we're going to have to embrace socialism. It's the only way forward. China is doing it. It's obvious that it's the only way forward.
Friends, I know you have been arguing about capitalism, communism, socialism, anarchism. I may not be able to answer all your questions, but I can tell you one thing clearly. Everything you mentioned, China has tried them all. Yes, we have tried them all in the past 100 years.
This is an important question because the West always addresses the leader of a communist country as premier. In China's case, the premier or the prime minister is the head of the government, and constitutionally, the head of the government is below the rank of the Speaker of the Parliament, which in China's case is called the Chairman of the National People's Congress. And President Xi, like his predecessors like President Jiang or President Hu, is known within the party as the paramount leader for holding 3 posts: the General Secretary of the Communist Party of China, the President of China, as well as the Chairman of the Central Military Commission. Before the 2018 constitutional reform, the presidency is a largely ceremonial role. The real power lies with being the commander of China's military. However, despite being criticized for abolishing the term limits, the 2018 constitutional reform have actually empowered the role of the presidency, which kind of makes China more constitutionally governed. And most importantly, most of the China watchers in the West have ignored the fact that over the past decade, the power of China's parliament, the National People's Congress, has been increasing. Many of China's policies are being enacted as legislations, and most famously, the Hong Kong National Security Law. So I will argue that China is actually becoming more constitutionally entrenched as a political system, and President Xi is actually ruling China by building institutions rather than being a personalistic ruler as many of his critics claim. The 8 parties outside of the Communist Party of China officially subscribe to the ideology of socialism with Chinese characteristics. This leads to the accusation by the West that they are all window dressers, which are essentially satellites to the CPC. However, socialism with Chinese characteristics was first conceived by Mao in the 1940s and later institutionalized by Deng Xiaoping in the 1980s. Today, China is in a radically different position. It has integrated into the global economy, It has built an open middle class. It is leading the world in science and technology, to the extent that people in China today interpret this ideology in so many ways that it kind of resembles how Americans saw their 200 years old constitution. Secondly, like other party systems in Asia, China's political parties are organized in sectarial lines, and consequently their policy preferences are based on particular interests rather than ideology. For example, the largest party outside of the CPC is the China Democratic League. The league primarily consists of intellectuals, publishers, and media workers, so their policy has always been less censorship, lower taxes on publications, and greater pay and greater funding for the university. Another party is the Party of Workers and Peasants, which is China's version of a social democratic party that wants more welfare for China's migrant workers. Then there is the China National Democratic Construction Association, which is essentially China's libertarian party that made up of mostly entrepreneurs. They want China to have more free trade and greater market reforms. There is also a party made up of scientists known as the 93学社. They always advocate for greater technocracy and more support for R&D funding. And my party, the Revolutionary Committee of Kuomintang, was historically connected with Taiwan's Kuomintang, which used to rule over all of China before 1949. And our policies primarily consist of greater cross-strait exchange. However, with the Kuomintang losing 3 elections in Taiwan, our significance has been diminishing.
So Peter Zeihan is back on my timeline telling Joe Rogan that China has 10 years until collapse, which is something that he's been predicting for the last 15 years now. And he's one of the intellectual leaders of an entire industry of people who push the idea that China's collapse is imminent. And this really shows you how easy it is to grift off of defense industry think tank money. If you're moderately articulate, there is so much money to be made by just repeating these narratives that align with the US State Department. And your wealthy defense industry backers can even get you on Joe Rogan. Zeihan's first ever job was with, guess who? The US State Department themselves, which of course has been increasing hostilities with China over the past 2 decades. Then he moved on to a weapons industry funded think tank called the Center for Political and Strategic Studies, and then he made his own consulting company where he works directly with the defense industry and gets a lot of corporate donors. Like, dude, what am I doing? I'm out here telling the truth about politics and history on TikTok. I should just be repeating the same thing over and over again like a parrot. China's collapsing, China's collapsing, China's collapsing. Here's $20 million in your own company. You'll be going on the Joe Rogan Experience next week. It's literally so easy to be a grifter, dude. It's crazy.
You're poor. You deserve to be broke forever because your mindset is so poor. You would rather live in America broke as hell, smoking weed. You have a huge problem. This is why you can't go to China. You're not able to mentally adapt. You can't. China isn't for everybody. If you want to stay at the crib, smoke your weed, watch Netflix, order on Amazon, DoorDash, go ahead. Go ahead. Do it for the rest of your life. But if you want to go to China, you need to be locked in. This is not a game. You need to be locked in.
The undocumented African immigrants that got raided in China is not fairly comparable to the ICE raids that's currently going on in the US. It's very simple. China does not need more people. The labor market has been well saturated and actually has too much labor, especially young labor. And to the contrary, that is never the case for the United States. The United States was constantly eager to draw blood from all over the world in every sector. You can look up the data right now, and during pandemic, this was especially obvious. 2/3 of the people who work in food delivery in New York City are all undocumented immigrants. I believe 1/5 or 1/8, don't quote me on the data, of the frontline health workers are also undocumented immigrants. Because undocumented immigrants, once again, are willing to do whatever the locals don't want to do. And they do provide essential value to the society for cities or the US's country to function. That's not the case for China, okay? I'm well aware I'm in the United States because China does not need me. China does not need you. China does not need any of the people on TikTok. I am sure. They don't need Africans. They don't need Europeans. They don't need anyone. They have 3 people fighting for 1 job. They import foreigners for their locals to study from.
The greatest difference between China and the West in Africa is that China does not engage in hypocrisy. There is zero double standards when China says we came to Africa to make money, and if using our terms and conditions is okay, then let's make money together. However, for the Western countries, they came to Africa to be the champion of freedom and democracy, but at the same time supporting the worst dictators in the continent.
People be like, why do you like living in China? This is China. I'm in Chongqing, China. Okay, they look like they're living in 3030. This is how they treat black people. This is my man right here, treating us like a celebrity. Okay, look at the streets, clean, not a piece of trash in sight, not a potato chip bag, not a beer can, clean. Okay, the people are nice. The city is beautiful. I'm in Chongqing. Hello, ni hao. People are just so nice. They just want to say hi. Hey. Have not yet seen China. Put China on your bucket list. It's not like whatever the media is saying. I've been here for 7 years. I'm hosting a luxury China tour. If y'all would like, comment tour down below for the tour details because this is hot. Y'all gotta get here. This is hot.
Sorry, I'm in this gift store in China, right? Look at these bobbleheads, man. It's supposed to be Bron. So look at this. They got Bron, Kobe here, Kyrie, but they all got them the same skin. They all damn near look the same, bro. You can't even tell the difference. They got the same skin tone, same cut. Look, same with the bobbleheads. For anyone that watch soccer, they know this is Mbappe, right? It is not this dark, bro. They funny as hell. They make everybody, if you black, they make everybody the same skin tone. Look. Kyrie, Westbrook and Kyrie damn near not the same skin tone, but and the jerseys, man, oh, this shit does not look like Westbrook. Yo. Yo, this is not Giannis, bro. Why they made every black person on here the same skin tone? They funny, bruh. China be having me weak. They probably, you know how they say you know how the stereotype where they say all Asians look the same. They probably think the same about black people here in Asia, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Because when you look at these dolls or these bobbleheads, you cannot tell the difference between any of them. I went back to America, picked up my 16-year-old brother, and flew him to China. Brought him to China for 3 months, right? Every day he woke up, 100 push-ups. He had to finish all of his assignments. He couldn't eat any fast food Monday through Friday. Was it easy? No. Was it days where he wanted to say F you? Yes. Days where we argued. There were days where I told him to take his ass home. As time went by, he understood why I was trying to push him. The main reason why I brought him to China to how to, 1, train as a professional athlete, 2, eat better, build better habits.
Footwork and coordination exercises with the ladder. Then after the ladder work, we had some core work with these ropes. So try to keep my core tight while doing these. Then we had these 45 to 90 degree ab workout. After working on abs, we went to some assisted jumps. Because I'm trying to rock the legs. The last thing I did before I left the ring was some medicine ball slings. Still when we started working my ribs into a bone. So in and out into my shot. After that, went up.
America is now deporting people every day. Where is the freedom? Many of those immigrants, they did nothing wrong. Americans are saying that you can be detained arbitrarily in China. But now they are the ones who are actually doing that.